Well, good morning, and this is 7th of November 2020. We're at a customer's home here who has this laundry sink. They had just moved their washer and dryer down here, and now they want to change out this old sink to a nice, beautiful, clean sink, which I don't blame them for that. So I'm actually going to have this video is going to be a little bit different this time. Normally you're watching me work on stuff. You're still going to see that, but I'm going to introduce you to the homeowner, and I'm going to teach the homeowner how to do this work so that they can do it in the future if they need to. So the homeowner's name is Scott. Scott, you want to come over here and say hello to the people? Everybody at home here? Hello. This is Scott, and this is his house, and this is his sink, and we're going to change it right now. All right, so we're here at Home Depot, and these are compression fittings. See compression connection right there? That's what we're looking for. This is a 1/2 inch, so that'll go onto a 1/2 inch pipe, and it has a 3/8 of an inch outlet. So this is what we're looking for. So when you buy these, you got to make sure that that little brass ferrule right there is in the package. Nobody forgot to put it in there or anything else. So we're going to need 2 of these. So we'll take this one, and this is a 1/2 inch to 3/8 as well. We're going to open it up, make sure that little ferrule's in there. It is. It's just along the sidewall. And we'll take 2 of them. And then we need a Fernco for the drain because yours is soldered in. This is an 1.5 inch Fernco. This is for when this metal band is when you really want to tighten something together, like you have cast iron pipes or something. You don't need to go that tight. This is 1.5 inch here, and it's a little bit longer. This is all you really need. Okay, $4 versus $8. So, and then you just want to get something else while we're here. So we'll head over there and get it, and then we'll be back at the job site. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you turn the water off. The last thing you want to do is cut a pipe and have a major plumbing leak. So usually the front of the house is where you find the shutoff. This here is the front of the house here. There's the water meter. There is the shutoff here. This is a ball valve. You just turn it perpendicular to the pipe, and then with the water off, you can drain the lines by opening the sink and letting it run to a drip. Now, just like a straw in a soda, if you take the straw, put it in a soda and put your finger on the top of it, when you pull the straw out, it's going to be full of the water or soda that's in the straw. You remove your finger, it runs out. That's called being airbound. So in order to make sure this isn't airbound, because let's face it, the water you see coming out of here is not just the water that was in the faucet. We got to empty all of the lines in the whole house that are above this. So if we go up to the kitchen sink and open that faucet, this should start coming out faster. All right, so the homeowner is going to open the faucets upstairs, and as you see, look at the water flow increase. Now all the water that's in the lines above this sink is all going to come out down here. When we cut the line, we're not going to take a bath. All right, so the first thing we need to do is disconnect the trap. This is going to be full of water, so we got a paint rolling tray here. This has been on here probably 20 years anyway. It was actually tighter than my jeans after Thanksgiving dinner. So we're not going to probably be able to reuse that one anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Fernco that we bought, and it's going to couple from here onto here. So I can just cut that off of there. I'd rather take it off, but this doesn't seem to want to come off of here, Scott. Well, let's just keep trying for a minute.
This angle doesn't look like it's moving.
It's not moving. It's not moving. Let me instead take it off the bottom of the sink first, and then maybe I can swing that trap out of my way so that I can get a better bite on it anyway. Alright, I'm going to disconnect the lines to the sink. I'm going to cut the copper pipes, and then we'll be able to lift this sink straight up out of here and get it out of the way, okay?
Okay.
Alright, so we have a copper line here going to the cold, and the one back there is going to the hot. We're going to put shutoffs on here, those compression shutoffs that we picked up at the Home Depot. This here is an auto cut tool. You can see there's an arrow on it. I don't know if you can see the arrow or not. There's an arrow right here. Tells you which way you have to turn it. All you do is sit that onto the pipe, clip it shut, and turn, and it'll cut itself. Now, when you're doing this, you got to make sure that the water's off first, otherwise you're going to have city water pressure coming into your basement or wherever you're doing this, and you will destroy your house. That's why we made sure the water was off. The valves were open on the first and second floor as well as the basement, and let the water all drain down. There it is. So you're going to have a little bit of water coming out still, but not a lot. And now we're going to do the same thing to this pipe back here. It's broken. Right there. Don't look like it's apart, but it's apart. Right there, see that? Alright, now we should be able to lift this sink straight up and out of here, because the concrete that they used on the bottom is not holding anything in place. But you're going to have to lift this straight up, Scott. And I'm going to make sure that it's going to come out of this trap okay. So straight up if you can. I might have to wiggle it. No, all right, I disconnected from the sink. I forgot. There you go. All right, so now with that out of there, I can swing this trap out of my way and get a better bite on it. All right, swing this to this side here. Wow. There she goes. There she goes. Man. That right there is how my jeans fit after Thanksgiving. That's a dead accurate statement right there. Mercy. It's still all in good shape. All right. All right, so they used this concrete here. I don't think none of it's really down to the floor, but that's what they used. They packed it up around the legs to try to keep the sink in place. We're going to tap the floor and put some screws into it, masonry screws. of the things you want to do is anytime you cut a pipe, the sharp edges. Now they sell reaming tools, or you can use a razor knife. You just want to make sure any burrs in there you get off until it's smooth, and you're not going to get cut on them, because that creates turbulence in the pipe. And granted, it's at the end of the line, so the only turbulence is going to go into the valve, but it could make the valve fail prematurely. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to stick your compression fitting onto the line. I'm going to put one on, and I'm going to show the homeowner Scott how to do it, and then he is going to do the second one. Now, sometimes these pipes are a little out of round. This one here is a little bit out of round. What you want to do is you want to take the end off and make sure that, take the ferrule out. You're going to slide your nut on first, and you want to slide it back probably an inch if you can onto the pipe. Then you're going to take your ferrule and you're going to slide that onto the pipe, and you're going to slide that back as well. And that's what it looks like on the pipe, just like that. That flashing is the refresh rate of the LED light. That light really is not flashing, but the camera picks up on it. So then you're going to take your shutoff and you're going to slide that onto the pipe as far as it will go. And then all you're going to do is tighten the nut to the shutoff. This ferrule will get squeezed between the two, and it'll push tightly against the copper pipe, making a leak-free connection. You don't even need to solder it. It'll be perfect just the way it is. Just make sure you orientate where you want your line connection, because you're not going to be able to turn it afterwards. So we're going to have this one facing up because it's going to go up to the sink. So now keep it right there. What you're going to do is you're going to take another wrench or channel locks or water pumps, whatever you want to call them. You're going to hold your valve and you're going to continue turning this on. And this is where the ferrule is getting squished in there and conforming to the 1/2 inch water line. Now you'll see here, this is a 3/8 connection. This also has a ferrule in it, and that's if you're going to hard plumb your sink. We're going to be using supply lines, so you don't need this. You can throw it away. The supply line will go directly onto here. All right, so the homeowner sanded it down and make it a little bit easier so he doesn't run into the same trouble that I run into trying to get that last one on. If you do this, use fine grit sandpaper. Don't use anything coarse. And always follow the circle of the pipe. Don't rub up and down the pipe. And it helped a little bit, right?
Yep.
All right.
That good?
Yeah, that's a good direction. Yep. Hold the other part while you tighten it up. You want it to be as far on the pipe as you can get it. right, so go ahead and turn the water on slow. No, not, yeah, over in the, yep. Turn it on real slow, because if you turn it on fast, we can end up with a water hammer, and that could damage pipes. So we want to turn it on slow and listen to it fill. Stop, we got a leak. You'll be happy to know it's the one you did. So you got to tighten it a little more. All right, let's try it again. See what happens. That flashing light drives me crazy. You'll be happy to know you fixed your leak. Yep. I let it fill the house lines. Now, up, stop, you got a leak. Oh, don't stop that fast. You create a water hammer. You got to turn it off slow. It's still leaking a little bit. I'm going to try tightening it. I was able to get it a little bit tighter, but we'll see. Maybe we have an issue here. We'll find out here in a few seconds. Water's back on. Lines are under complete and full pressure, and there's no leaks. We're good. So take a lesson from that. It's very important that you get these tight as you possibly can, and then a little bit tighter as well, because it is compression, and that's what stops the leak, stops it from leaking. It's a compression fitting, and compression means it needs to be compressed. So you have to be able to tighten it on there very tight. Definitely need 2 wrenches to do it. As you see mine that I put on, I tightened it tight enough the first time, but the homeowner did very well. I'm not trying to downgrade anything. It just takes experience. You know how tight you need to make it, and now he knows. All right, so with the water lines, the supply valves done, everything's taken apart. Scott is going to put the legs on the sink. We're going to sit that in place here so we know exactly where to tap the floor, so that we can put masonry screws into the floor and hold the sink in place. Got to have it all together to know that, so that's what's going on right now. These legs just snap into place, lock themselves in, nothing to it. Just like that. All right, so before we put the sink in place, we're going to put the drain on, and we're going to connect the feet. So these are held on by nuts and bolts. The feet are. You should put the nut on the inside. Yep. And we're going to put the drain together. So you're looking for a washer like this. It looks like a top hat. Well, if you turn it this way, it looks like a top hat. A short one. That is going to fit inside of your pipe like that. That will go flat against the bottom of the drain, like so. And then you will slide one of these nuts onto it, plastic nuts, like that, and thread it into the sink. You don't need Teflon tape or anything else. That washer is what makes the watertight connection. You make it nice and tight. And you just do that to all 4 legs. So one would think with that label that's engraving on there on the faucet that is the right way that it would go in. But if you notice, the hot is on the right then, and the cold is on the left. And there's absolutely no indication that this would be the front of it. However, hot's always on the left, so you need to turn the gooseneck around. That goes to the back. Now hot is on the left, cold is on the right. I'm going to stick that with this plastic piece up through the holes and tighten the rosettes into place. Now the supply lines are going to go directly onto here. We'll put them on right now as well. While we have this upside down, it's a lot easier than try to monkey around with it in place. You don't use Teflon tape. The inside of these supply lines have a rubber bushing, and that's all you need. It should be hand tight plus a 1/4 turn. Well, the average person hand tight, not gorilla hand tight. That is not going to leak just the way it is. And this is a plastic faucet, so we don't want to break it. All right, let's set it in place. I'm going to try to do this without this LED light because it creates like a psychedelic effect there. So this comes down. We want to connect it to that. Obviously, it doesn't reach. So we're going to have to cut this down. So what you do is just bring this up onto here the way it needs to fit. See where that fits on the pipe. The pipe slides all the way down to this section here. So we're going to mark the pipe right here, and that's where we're going to cut it off. Oh, actually, it was a little lower. We actually want to cut it right there. All right, so we're going to cut it on that line there. All right, so then you're going to slide this onto your cut pipe and hook it to your drain. You see, it fits perfectly. Nice seating there and there. Now, we're not tightening this plumbing in yet because we're going to mark the floor so we know where to drill it for these legs. So we're going to make sure that this is nice and straight. How's that look from where you're at? Make that nice and straight, Scott. Looks pretty good. Okay, so now all we're going to do is we're going to take a marker and where all of the legs touch the floor, we're just going to put a black dot on the floor so we can pre-drill the holes. So this here is called a cold chisel. You can get them in all different shapes and sizes. I got all kinds of them. You get them where you can, you know, long bladed, short, really pointy for like something you'd use for a nail set almost. But this is what we're looking for. We're looking for one that has a semi-sharp blunt end on it. And what we're going to do is mark the floor with these and create a divot in the floor that allows us to drill it easier so our drill bit doesn't wander. Let's get under the sink and take a look at this. Now we're unable to mark this floor because it's wet. And you can play games with like running a tape from 2 dry locations and trying to do it, but it's so much easier to sit this cold chisel in here and just mark the floor with it. And we'll stick it down through the hole in the back here. And do the same thing. Now we have the pencil marks over here, but it doesn't hurt to hit it with a cold chisel. right, so we're going to use these concrete anchors here. I mean, concrete screws, masonry screws. They're blue to indicate that they're for masonry work. And these are 3/16 of an inch in diameter. You look on the back of the package that they come in, it'll tell you what size drill bit to use. We have to use a 5/32 drill bit right here, and we got it into our hammer drill. I've only got the 2 legs on this side marked at this point. We're going to get them drilled. We'll set the screws into the holes to make sure they're right where we want, and then we'll worry about doing the other side. We're going to just try to find the holes with these screws. Tip that up a little bit. Oh, it's in it. It's in it. All right. And then that's in that one. And we just want to make sure that our drain's still fitting in the right spot. It is. It's dead on. Now what we can do is we can trust our marker. We'll do this again just to be on the safe side. And I'm also going to trace the leg so I know exactly which dot I'm dealing with. One thing about these blue cement, these masonry screw bits, these screws, is a lot of the times the head of them strips out quite easily. That one's in, but they strip out quite easily. So what you can do, and I'm going to show you a really great trick, is you can take stranded wire that, not solid wire like your house has, but more like what you see in automotive. See how it's stranded? You can take that, you can stick it down into the hole that you're going to be putting the screw into. Find the hole here, stick that down into the hole. That takes up a little bit of space. This here is a deck screw. You put the deck screw in with the stranded wire into masonry where it don't belong. And that deck screw will fasten right to the masonry because the wire twists around it down in the hole. There we go. The wire's down into the hole. We're going to put a deck screw in, and then we're going to tighten the deck screw down in there. All right, so now all the screws are in. Now we got to tighten up all of the little plastic adapters that adapt it to the floor. We'll get these nice and tight, and the sink should be pretty secure where it's at. Real quick, we're going to make sure that this still fits where it belongs, which it does perfectly. Slides right on there. Okay, so it did not come with this little gasket. When you buy one of these sinks, it may or may not. And if you have the same type of connection where it has this flat surface, looks like the top hat is built into the brass here, you have to put one of these gaskets up on here like this. Alright, so you're going to put the plastic nut on, and then you're going to get this washer on around the pipe. And slide it up, just like you did the ferrule. You want it to be up because you want to make sure that the trap can slide on there all the way. And we don't want it to bottom out prematurely. All right. And you're going to put this on here, line it up like that, bring this down. Do not tighten it all the way. Just get it started so the two stay together. And then start your other one. And tighten them evenly. All right, so now all we got left is to hook the supply lines up, and Scott's gonna do that. And make sure you hook the cold to the cold and the hot to the hot. You're gonna thread it on there hand tight, plus a quarter turn. Using that adjustable wrench, or any wrench. You can use that orange one down there by your right. That's good. Hand tight plus a quarter turn. There you go. Turn the valves on, let's see what happens. No leaks. No leaks. How about underneath? Yep, we got a leak underneath. It is leaking from that metal connection. Alright, so not everything goes as planned. I mean, this guy here that I'm showing you, he's got major problems. We don't have major problems. We just got to change out the trap under Scott's laundry sink here. But this guy here, he cut a pipe or something that was charged, and he's ruining someone's apartment. This is why I tell you, make sure the water's off and you drain the lines. Because if you don't, you end up with a problem like this here. And this is not something you want to deal with. And you look at the steam on this, this guy's contending with hot water pipe underneath of there. He's soaking wringing wet. The hallway is wet. Just make sure that you do your due diligence and turn your water off before you start a project like this. So I'm going to show you how we're going to use the Fernco that I purchased already in anticipation that we were probably going to need it. And that comes with experience, but if you're not sure, grab one. You can always return it. These big box stores let you return anything that you purchased, even without a receipt. You might get a store credit, but they'll definitely give you a refund. All right, so let's get to it. So we got a little bit of a problem. It's leaking around where the plastic is connecting to the metal. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart. We'll have to cut this down just a little bit so this will slide up a little higher because the gooseneck on this is shorter. And we're going to tie it into the plumbing using a Fernco. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. It's just Teflon tape. So we'll put this here. This is going to sit on here like this. So it has to come up. Has to be cut about an inch Another inch has to come off of here. Can you hold that? Yeah, I want to do that. There we go. All right, let's slide that up more. That is a Diablo blade, and it just snapped right off. There we go. So this front coat is going to go on here like this. This is going to go on here. This is going to go on here. And we have to determine how far back we want it to go. And we don't need much of it. Just to here. That's going to be perfectly lined up. Loosen it up a little bit and see if we can't get it on more. There it is. There she is. All right, now we tighten these up. All right, run some water. No, it's So what do you think, Scott? Think you can do it? Think you can do it yourself? If you had to do it again?
I'm pretty sure I could.
All right.
It's good to know that I could see someone who actually knows what they're doing do a great job.
So thanks for letting me record this and put it on the channel. I'm sure everybody else is appreciative as well. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you.